Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM, and once again, great to welcome back the Mayor of the Horowhenua, Bernie Wanden. Good morning to you, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, John, and to your listeners.
I believe that you have had, once again, some people popping in, not just once again, but several times again, people popping in as we build up to something called the general election. This must be a very valuable time in terms of face time and making the case for the district.
For sure. Look, regardless of the fact that it's election, it's always good to be able to create those relationships and networks and for some of those politicians to understand the realities of what's going on. So, look, it's been a pleasure over the last 2 or 3 weeks to host a number of ministers, and we've been fortunate that with the reopening of the courthouse, the Justice Minister here, Andrew Little, was here. I've also had the Minister of Agriculture here, Damien O'Connor, and then spent recently some time with the Minister of Local Government, Naya Mahuta, as well as the Minister of Finance, Grant Robertson. So it's been very good, and for them to see some of the things that are happening, and it was a pleasure to show the Minister Robertson this morning the new works that are being done with PGF funding around the middle of our roading in the middle of town.
Do you find that they're genuinely interested in local issues or not?
Yes, I have asked them that, actually, because you do wonder whether, it's more sort of a sentence rather than a pleasure to be walking around or visiting lots of different parts of the country. But in fact, for them, it's an ideal opportunity to get close to the real New Zealand and to discuss in a more informal basis what is actually the challenges and the opportunities that exist in our local community. So, they actually enjoy it, I think. I mean, it must be incredibly difficult for them, and they're flitting from here and there and everywhere, but they understand that it's part of the deal.
Indeed. Yes, so they're hunkered down, they're bunkered down in Wellington most of the time, and they're just being showered by spreadsheets and a whole lot of facts and figures. It must be really good to get out in the sunshine and see what the effects of some of their work is. And once again, I believe some PGF money, Provincial Growth Fund money, has come into the district and heading towards some Pasifika churches in the Horowhenua.
Yeah, so we are very fortunate, and again, this is as a result of good work from within the organisation here and the community. There wasn't much time to put these applications in, and they were only. One of the good things is that they were for provincial and rural areas. So the big cities like Auckland and Wellington missed out on this, but it was around $10 million that they allocated to the renovation of Pasifika churches. And look, Levin's been very, very fortunate that we have got 3 churches in that grant money totaling over $1.5 million. So we've got a good chunk of that $10 million, which is fantastic to see, and will make a huge difference to those churches that are going to be on the receiving end of this.
And what a great boost to that part of the community, which often is underappreciated until you get to the Pasifika Festival, which is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
It is a wonderful thing. The reality is, too, that the Horowhenua is the second fastest Pasifika demographic in the country behind Auckland. So we are being recognised as a fast-growing area in that space. And look, I suppose it's reflected in the type of horticultural work and other sort of work that those Pasifika people generally go for. But look, they are becoming an increasingly important part of the diversity of the Horowhenua, that's for sure.
You mentioned the horticultural work, Bernie. There's a lot of publicity around that. Many people in the orchards and the vineyards around the country are beginning to really panic because of the lack of pickers, etc., the kind of work that is often done by seasonal workers. Many of them come from the Pacific. Have you heard that that's a concern in the Horowhenua?
I think we were a little fortunate here. I know one of the asparagus growers were fortunate that there were a group of seasonal workers that had been unable to leave the country earlier in the year and had been doing other work through the winter and have now managed to get them to do their picking for them. And I'm sure you'll be aware that the asparagus has rejoined the market in the last week or so, much to everyone's delight.
Yes.
And, we look forward to even more things happening. But look, as far as the horticultural growers themselves, I think they have more permanent because it is, basically a 12-month production line for them. So we're probably not as badly affected again as some other areas.
Goodness me. It's amazing how well the area is skating through these tumultuous times, these extraordinarily difficult times. And once again, it seems the Horowhenua is coming through, relatively speaking, smiling. So it's great to hear once again another optimistic report. I really look forward to having a chat to you. Betty Wanden, Mayor of the Horowhenua, thank you for joining us this morning here on Beach FM.
Thank you, John.
106.3 Beach FM.